I'm Anna Helman, and today I have a really cute gift packaging idea to share with you that's easy to put together and it has a few fun techniques on it. Let's take a look. Here you can see this cute little pouch that we are going to make today, along with a couple of the techniques that I want to share with you. I want to thank Candy Rattray. She created this pouch and I got this idea from her. So let me tell you what we're going to need to create this. First, we need a piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and that is all you need to make that pouch. This will perfectly create the pouch. Then if you want to decorate it the way I am, you will need a piece of designer paper that measures 3 3/4 by 5 3/4, plus a smaller one that measures 3 3/4 by 3/4. Piece of cardstock that matches the base of the pouch. It measures 2 7/8 by 4 7/8. Piece of white that measures 2 3/4 by 4 3/4, and some ribbon. First, I want to create the white piece that is stamped, and we've done a couple of these techniques on it. So let's go ahead and prepare that piece first. First, I want to use a blending technique with my blending brushes, and I'm going to use some smoky slate ink for this one. And I want to create kind of a glow in the background of this smoky slate color. So if you haven't seen me use blending brushes before, these are such a fun tool. I absolutely love them. And sometimes, so I don't clean these between uses. I use them for color families. So this one I use for blacks and grays, but I do want to make sure, okay, now we're good. So I get some ink onto the brushes. So I just press and swirl on my ink pad. Then I'm going to swirl and apply that color to my project. Now for this, I actually want more in the center than on the edges. But sometimes I have moments and I forget things, so that's why I was on the edges. Normally I swirl in from the outside and start there. That is not what I want to do this time. So what I am going to do is, okay, you blot off the extra and then swirl. So I'm getting some lighter patches and some darker patches. I am just going to keep swirling and keep blending. I want a little bit more here in the center. And I do want to blend this out a little bit better towards the edges. You can create some really beautiful techniques with these. Actually, I will link you to a video here where you can learn a lot more about these blending brushes. See some ways to use them. Okay, so this is going to create that glow or that haze in the background for us. Now, this isn't overly exciting on its own, but what I love is this technique I'm going to share to create some water spot looking areas. Now, I'm going to use my water painters to do this, and there are other ways. You could actually just do this using your fingers and some water in a little cup or a little bowl. But I'll show you how I'm going to do this with my water painters. So this is full of water. I'm going to squeeze it until I can tell that the brush tip is getting pretty full of water. And there I lost a little droplet onto my work surface. So that's why you want to keep something on your surface to protect it. So here I have my tip pretty full of water, if you're able to see that. And I'm going to tap this on my hand, and basically droplets are going to come off and fall onto my project. Some of them may go other places as well. So when you're doing this, like I said, keep everything protected. You don't always know where your droplets are going to go. And again, like I said, if you prefer, you can actually just get some water on your fingers and splatter it that way. So I'm going to do this a few different times, and here it is starting to look like what I want. So hopefully you can see we're getting these fun watermarks in the background of this. Now, once you have on the amount that you want, what you want to do is actually dry this back off. So I'll grab my paper towel here and just press this to the surface so that it's going to soak up the rest of that water and prevent my paper from warping. Have some extra drops up here, so we'll get those cleaned up. And that just creates a really fun background. You could use this on all kinds of projects, but I just decided to use it for this today. Now I am going to let that dry for a couple of minutes while we create our box, and then we will finish stamping that. So I need my piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, as well as my scoring board, or you can also use your Stampin' Trimmer with the scoring blade. So you want to set this so it is vertical, and first you want to score at the 1-inch mark. Next you want to turn it 90 degrees, and you are going to score at 4.5, 5 1/4, 9 3/4, and 10 1/2. Now we want to do a little bit of trimming. There's a couple of pieces here we do not need in the background, or for the base, I should say. So we want to trim this little piece out. And down here at this corner, you want to trim both of those small boxes out. Okay, now that we've done that, we want to score, fold and crease these really well. You can get out your bone folder if you like to make sure they crease really well. So I like to fold one way and then flip it over and fold them all the other direction as well. This little pouch is so easy. I'm really excited about it. So because you're going to see here in a second how easy this comes together. So what I want to do is put some adhesive on this flap right down here, this one on the very edge. And this is all the adhesive you're going to need. So I like to use my tear and tape because it's so strong for anything 3D like this. If I want to put a gift inside that's going to tug on it a little bit, this tear and tape holds really well. So I'll remove the backing from this. And this is a good chance to show you, if you ever have a hard time removing the paper backing from dimensionals or tape or anything, then take your pick tool. The piercing tip of that does a really good job of lifting that up. So now what I am going to do is fold this over, and actually I want to fold this back the other way because, okay, so I have that showing, and what you can do is just fold back this piece and lay all of this flat. It should match up the edge of this piece with the score line. So everything's laying flat, and I am just going to press to adhere that together. Okay, so now we have basically a little box. To make this so it is more of a pouch, what you're going to do is on one of the sides, we'll end up doing this on both of the sides, you want to press down in the center of this edge. And this is going to create the little gusset. You can use their bone folder again to make this nice and crisp if you feel like you need that. So now we'll do the other side. Press it down, and as soon as we attach our bottom, we are going to have this cute little pouch here. So you can use some strong adhesive if you like. What I am going to do is actually staple this. So I am going to staple, I want to keep it towards the edge so that I can still fit my gift down in there, down to the bottom. But I don't want it right along the edge because if I move it in a little bit, I'll be able to cover that up with some of my paper. Okay, so our pouch is created. While we have this here, before we start to add any paper to it, I do want to tie this cute little ribbon around. I really like this mesh ribbon. It is very kind of carefree and relaxed. You can make pretty bows with it, but you can They don't have to, you don't have to fidget with them much. They look nice no matter what you do is what I've found out. So we'll make a cute little bow with this silver mesh ribbon. This is going to look really nice with the designer paper I chose. And now let's finish up our piece that is going to go on the front. We'll be able to bring this all together. And here is another fun technique that I have shared this before, but it seemed like a good chance to do it again because I am doing a collaboration with some other Stampin' Up! Demonstrators, and we are taking inspiration from each other and coming up with some new ideas to share. So this was an idea I got from Mary Nabe. So here is my piece that I created that splattered background with. What I'm going to do now is a really fun technique called step stamping. You can only do this with the Stamparatus unless there's a tool out there that I have not heard of. Another one that you can do it with. And I'll give you the idea of what we're going to do. I'm going to stamp this large hello stamp several times as we move down the cardstock. And then I'm going to add this friend stamp on top of it in a little bit darker color. So I want to line these up where I think everything is going to fit nicely. I think that should be good. Once you have it where you want, bring it over and adhere that. And now I'm ready to ink that up. So I want to use a little bit lighter color on this hello, a little bit darker color on the friend stamp so that the friend will show up over the hello. So there's my first one. And one thing I like to do when I do this hinge step stamping is not to re-ink my stamp. And I just stamp repeatedly as I move down. And these get lighter and lighter. And actually, as we get down to the bottom, it is hardly going to show. And I'm okay with that. Okay, so next, I'll take the hello stamp off. I want to put the friend stamp on. Right here. And on this one, I'm going to use navy. I use Misty Moonlight to stamp the first one. Now I'm going to use navy. If you have any Stampin' Spots, the little ink pads that come in our paper pumpkin kits, or you can also purchase them on their own, they can be really helpful. I'm going to move this out of the way. Okay, now we'll repeat this a few times. Okay, so I am not even going to stamp there at the bottom because my first one didn't show up. So there you can just do some really neat things with that hinge step stamping technique. Now that we have this ready, let's put our gift pouch together. And I will show this really quick. Here is that stamp set I use to pull these big greetings from. I've used this a lot. It's a really nice one. And one that reminds me of it is this Ornate Thanks stamp set. This is one I had done the same hinge step technique with a while back. So I thought I would share that. These are a couple of really good sets to use with this technique. Okay, so let's get everything put together. What I want to do first is attach the designer paper pieces. So we'll flip these over and get some nice strong adhesive on them. I am using some of my Seal Plus. It's a really nice strong adhesive. So this piece at the bottom, I want to place over top of the staples if it is going to work that way. It is just right at the edge of my staples, and so you may want to put yours in just a touch farther. And then this piece is going to go here. Now I could have made this all one big piece, but I thought it was fun just to add a little bit of interest to do the two separate ones. Now we'll place the piece that we stamped over this piece of navy. And add both of these to the front. You could pop this up with dimensionals if you like. That's always a fun way to add a little bit more interest. But you could make these all different kinds of themes. These could be for holidays. They could be for special occasions. It could be thank you birthday. And last but not least, we'll add just a few of these pretty opals. So thanks so much for watching along. I hope this gives you a fun idea you can use for some gift packaging sometime soon. Please give me a comment below, like, thumbs up, subscribe to my channel while you're here, and let me know what kinds of videos you're interested in seeing in the future. I really appreciate you watching along, and I hope you'll be back again next time when I'll be here helping you to hand make with love.